The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the host and guest and do not reflect the opinions or policies of the station, its owners, or its advertisers. All content should be considered editorial in nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Recorded live from the radio studios of WFAY and WMRV. Andrew Lonis Media presents Cumberland County's smartest hour of talk radio. Welcome back to another edition of the Carolina Cabinet.
And everybody, good morning. This is Peter Pappas, and I'm host of the Carolina Cabinet. Does that seem loud to you guys?
Yeah, a little bit, but you know,
it's okay.
you just
it's loud and clear.
We were falling asleep in the car, so it's good for you.
Yes.
Wake us up a little bit.
Loud and clear.
Well, welcome. See, this happened to me last time.
Yeah.
I don't know
okay.
what's up. So,
just cool down.
So, welcome to the Cabinet. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Joining you in studio with Mr. Bryan Moore.
What up?
Welcome, everybody, and Pastor Josh.
Good morning, family.
And Miss Carrie J.
Good day.
Welcome. So, if you're listening to us this morning, you're listening to us on WFAY 100.1 and the River WMRV 106.5. We're proud to be the only homegrown conservative talk radio show in the region, and we know this is the smartest hour of radio. Our job is to give a voice to the conservatives of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, and beyond. So, what's been going on, guys?
Woo! Busy.
I mean,
busy.
New Year's Eve.
Man.
Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I mean, it's been...
We had a quiet January 6th. It was nice and quiet. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, this past week, the Senate, the certification took place, and there was...
Which is a constitutional process.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that.
Quiet.
I didn't realize that she was going to have to actually be the one to certify it as VP.
Yeah,
that is an actual duty.
Don't forget there was like 14 inches of snow down there, too.
Yeah, they're still getting hammered.
Yeah, so
4 years too late, the snowstorm.
4 years too late, yeah, right? Yeah, if only we had it back then.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I still think people still would have been out there.
Well, now, I saw some ridiculousness today on Facebook and, those channels. It's somebody likened the January 6th incident to that of 9/11. I remember where I was, even like on 9/11. I'm like, one wasn't the same as the other.
Remember, we live in a country where a guy shoots a head of an insurance company in the back of the head, and people praise him.
Right.
They raise money for him.
Yeah. Well, that's because he's a handsome guy too. I mean, I get that. As a member of that club.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get it because you get it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So, all right. So we've got an election certified by former Vice President Kamala Harris, or current Vice President, but not for long.
Not for long.
Yeah. All right, hit a bell. Okay. But we had a treacherous New Year's.
Yeah.
It seems like we wanted to go out with a bang, and some terrorists really.
I think it was just a reminder that the global war on terrorism is truly just the global war on terrorism. Is not something that you can say, oh, let's take back like 50% of the force and send troops home and tell everybody they can have peace of mind.
Right.
We just mentioned about 9/11, and on October the 11th, 2001. President Bush at the time did say that we are at war against terror.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys.
Well, do you think we got complacent just because nothing's happened? I mean.
Well, I think that's the thing is that everybody thinks that we were at war with Afghanistan or
Iraq.
We were at war with countries.
Yep.
We were just in those countries, but we were already in the countries. We just increased force with hopes of training individuals, which is what the military does best, and to train them to be better and to try to simmer down the cook pot,
and be able to take care of a country being able to take care of their own problems
to restore their faith in their own.
Plus you've had open borders for 4 solid years. There's no telling how many places in this country people are implanted that are like this guy in New Orleans. But nobody's mentioning in New York you had a guy get shoved in front of a subway, a girl set on fire.
Yep, I saw that.
I mean, they're there.
Yeah.
You have to watch your back wherever you go.
Well, I mean, come on, Pastor. The devil's been busy.
Yeah, brother, let me tell you.
I mean, so I didn't even hear about. So, well, no, the thing in New York, the subway, the woman was set on fire.
Yeah, by an illegal.
Yeah. Well, they're calling them immigrant. We're going to call them aliens. Here because I know what legal immigration looks like. So you're not going to pander to me with their migrants. Okay, migrants are the ones picking strawberries down in California. Yeah, they migrated
peaches.
up. These people are criminals. So
they come with a specific purpose.
Yeah. And I think this gentleman, I'll call him gentleman, I'll go that far to say that he lit this person on fire, and I think he was taking a video of himself before saying he's going to have his beer anywhere he wants.
Wow.
He said it in Spanish. I heard cerveza, and I'm like, he wants his beer.
Yeah.
But, but the apathy displayed by the people around. Did you guys see the video of her standing?
Nobody helping.
So I guess... I don't know how this process works. I'm assuming if you're on fire that your body shuts down because it's too painful, so you're just in shock.
Yeah, I imagine you'd go into shock.
Just die. Yeah. But this person was fixed, holding what looked like a rail at the doorway of the subway.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
On fire.
Yeah.
Human torch. Yeah. And people... The worst part was somebody's filming it. Well, somebody because that's how we saw it. But then worse was more people walking in front of that guy, videoing it themselves. And then I think it was an MTA worker actually went and fanned the flames because I guess he missed that in class.
You're supposed to throw the blanket.
Drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll.
It's not go. Give it more oxygen. It was disgusting.
Yeah, heart wrenching.
I mean, I'm watching this and I'm like, somebody push her over. I mean,
do something.
Somebody.
Well, it's interesting too because I was listening to I do sometimes listen to liberal talk shows, ladies and gentlemen, and I was listening. I was listening to a very liberal one, but the host or hostess, was commenting. She was commenting on the assassination attempt on Trump, and how that made one news cycle and was gone.
Yeah.
These things, they'll make one news cycle, but that's.
Well, what did Bryan say to begin with? He said somebody got pushed in front of a train.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, no, I heard about the human torch. So there's so much going on.
Yeah. The guy was standing there waiting, and a guy jumped the railing and shoved him in front of the train, and then jumped around. I mean, it's nuts.
I mean, everybody says life in the big city, but I don't think it's the big city that causes that kind of apathy or that kind of devilishness in people.
But when you pile a bunch of people there that don't belong.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was watching something, I guess on the Stanford prison experiment, and the whole thing was about to test the theory that we all have some innate bad.
Yeah, evil.
Like everyone has an innate evil.
Yep.
It may come out in different ways. It may need a certain amount of pressure, but there is an innate evil that we all have to conquer.
Well, we in the church would call it your sin nature. Not to wax overly spiritual, but all of us are born with sin nature.
Well,
that is true.
Well, Josh, I only come here to record with my friends.
Yeah.
I do need my weekly dose of Pastor Josh. So why don't we step away and do that for just a moment, and we'll come right back. Okay?
Sounds great.
Since 2012, Joshua Goodman has been the senior pastor at the Cliffdale Christian Center, a dynamic church and ministry located in West Fayetteville. Join our friend Pastor Goodman for a podcast or a live sermon in person at 6427 Cliffdale Road. Now for today's good news. Here is Joshua Goodman.
Well, good morning from the All-American City. This is Pastor Josh, and have I got some good news for you. In a time when so many want to unpack, talk about, and discuss all the problems, circumstances, and situations, all the negative junk, I'm here to give you some good news. And because of earlier in the show, I am sure glad that I have the opportunity to bring some good news today. Can you all believe it? We are living in 2025. Now listen, y'all, I'm 50 years old, and when I was a kid, they told me that by now we would be driving in flying cars, that we would be taking round-trip vacations to the moon. I want to know where my round-trip to the moon is. Here we are in 2025, and I still don't have it. Oh, well. Listen, so every year, my wife and I, we go away for a few days to pray, to reflect, to do what I like to call vision casting for the new year. To make our plans. And now there's countless sayings about making plans. I've heard from the military, failing to plan is planning to fail, that a man with a plan will never have to serve one without. This one I really like. A good plan violently executed right now is far better than a perfect plan executed next week. There are countless scriptures about the wisdom in planning. Solomon writes that the plans of a diligent will surely lead to plenty. Again, he writes, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. But this is my favorite. Jesus says, for which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it or not? Friends, which one of us would begin to build a house and not have the financing, not have the plans, not know where we wanted to put it? Planning is absolutely imperative in our lives. One of the definitions of insanity, and I've said this to you before, is to do the same stuff over and over again and expect different results. So all I got to say, with all due respect, I love you, right? Pastor Josh talking to you. Why don't you stop being so crazy? Take some time this week, pray, reflect, consider your good times, your bad times in 2024. Consider your good actions, your bad actions, the things that brought you success and the things that brought you failure. Look back at those things and stop, consider, and plan for 2025. Make a plan that leads you to success and God's will. Then begin to execute it immediately. There's two things that are going to take place, right? Number one, let me let you know, before the end of 2025, you will fall off your plan wagon. At some point, sometime, your plans are going to fall through. That is okay, because that brings me directly to point number two. As soon as you do, as soon as you can, get right back on that plan wagon and begin to execute it again. And if you do, I guarantee you that you will see greater success this year than you did last year. This is Pastor Josh, and that is your good news.
The cancel culture is not welcome here. You're listening to the Conservative Carolina Cabinet, Eastern North Carolina's most offensive talk show to the freeloading left.
And welcome back to the Carolina Cabinet. I'm your host, Peter Pappas, in the studio with Mr. Bryan Moore, Pastor Josh, Miss Carrie J. Yay. So good to see you all. Happy New Year. I know we kind of brought the show down.
Yeah, I know. It's like we're talking about people burning the sub.
That's why I was like, okay, I think we need some good news
little bit.
We need some of that. So planning.
Yeah.
I've always admired you for that.
Yes.
You take the time because you realize a relationship is more than what's in front of you.
Yes, it's got to be.
Plan.
And success, life. So this is something my dad did years ago. Anytime he was moving into a new adventure or a new opportunity.
Well, adventure for you guys was like a whole other country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whether you're talking,
we're just going to move to Haiti for a few years.
The underground churches of China to South Africa, all over the place. Anytime he would do that, he would step away for a few days and be like, all right, let me get away. Let me reflect. Let me pray. Is this God's will for my life? How are we going to do it? What are we going to do? And at the end of every year, he would always go away for 3-4 days and look back and look forward. Look back at, the previous year and say, hey, these things went really well. Let's do more of this. An example in my life, and I've shared this here before, is that COVID taught so many pastors, any good pastor, a lot of very valuable lessons. And one of the biggest lessons I took away was the investment in relationships. You don't invest in relationships on accident. It's something you got to do intentionally. It's something that's done on purpose. And so I made a decision. Look, I'm going to begin to intentionally invest in relationships. Me coming here, being on the show, that is my investment in our friendships, in our relationships. And we, especially as a society, this is something that is so lacking. We need to begin to invest in those relationships, caring for people, communicating with people, talking with people, having the hard conversations. Again, those things don't really take place unless you plan, strategize to do them. So me and my wife, we go away, we take a couple days, and we think about, our marriage life, our family life, our church life, our recreational life, our rest life, and we literally evaluate each one of these areas. I could show you my phone right now. I literally have like 43 new points in my plan, and some of it's basic, right? So me and my daughter, we both got bows, like archery bows for Christmas. And so one of my plans is, hey, get outside once a week and practice archery with her.
Okay.
You know, so there are practical things. Spending more time with the Lord, exercising, all of these things. And I have found that since I have started doing this, and really it started about 5 years ago. I've done it throughout my life, but really planning it out and doing it strategically where I write everything down. Since I have done that, it has made a huge difference in my life. I get more rest. I'm more effective at my ministry, and you know, I step away.
So, how much of this is your wife keeping you accountable?
Oh, brother! First of all, this whole thing was her idea.
Okay.
She brought me away on this trip, like I said, like 5 years ago, and coached me through it, and it was pulling nails, man. It was tough. I couldn't. I knew how to plan. I knew how to strategize. But I couldn't make it to her level, and she did the work. She did the work, and now we go away, and it's like, I got it. Let's go.
See, that's a partnership. That's what people nowadays. The relationships are so disposable.
Yep.
That people don't understand. They have to put the work in.
Yep.
You know, how long were you away?
Oh yeah, 3-4 days. Yeah,
3-4 days.
Yep, 3-4 days.
But it was intentional. We're going away to do this,
and we're working.
Have some fun.
Yeah, we're working. Yeah. But the first 3 or 4 days, it's all work. I mean, we're working 8-10 hours a day. And then the next couple of days we go to the beach and, you know, hang out and stuff. But the first part is, hey, we got to get this done. And again, just reading the leadership books that I read, and you know, those things, they just have had this impact. And I'm seeing in my own personal life, in my family life, my marriage and ministry, I'm seeing huge success, and I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Keep it up. I'll check in with the missus and say, hey, you keeping him on his, you know, kind of like at that wedding we went to that you officiated.
Yes.
I was like, hey, you should have said that obey part more.
Yeah.
You know?
She didn't like that much. Yeah. She looked under every translation to try to get away from
So we're
obey.
talking about Christina, our friend. Yeah. Christina out of West now is her last name?
Akers.
So Christina Akers we're talking about.
Yep.
We love her. But we did like seeing her face when she had to say the obey part.
Yeah, submit and obey. She didn't like that.
And the thing is, so out of all the friends I have, she's one of the friends I have that really wanted that biblical marriage.
Yep.
She wanted husband and wife. She wanted those roles. And it's funny because she's not like that.
No.
Like if you met her in regular life, you're like, she's a boss.
Yeah.
Like she just, you know, but that's what she wanted. And she knows it's good for her at home.
Yep. And knows it's good for her kids, you know, her son and her daughters.
Absolutely. So,
and
so nobody can say I don't have good examples around me. It's just getting me to sit down and eat.
Well, yeah. I was thinking about
Maybe you need to take him on a trip.
I think I do. I'll coach him through it. But I started thinking about, you know, those individuals who are a huge success, like you. I could not do what I do without doing this. And so if I had, you know, to everybody, I'm like, try it. Just try it. And like I said, I've got reminders on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, and annual basis.
Okay. So is there like so when I'm reading books, it's normally for business or it's a biography of somebody. I don't do smut magazines. I don't do, you know, contrary to what y'all think.
Yeah.
You know? But no, it's not for pleasure.
Yep.
Well, it is for pleasure, but it's not. I feel like I need to accomplish something. I have that. I always want to. So yeah.
So 2 books that I would recommend. One is Intentional Living.
Okay.
And that's the one that actually coaches you through the process. And the other one is Atomic Habits.
Okay.
Those 2. Now there's
probably a ton.
Oh, they're ton.
If you were to pick 2, those would be Atomic Habits and Intentional Living.
Intentional Living. Those have had the biggest
impact.
impact.
I've seen Atomic Habits before. I haven't seen the Intentional Living, but I think currently I'm halfway through Ninja Selling.
Selling?
Or
selling.
I'm not sure you know how to do that.
Yeah. No. All
you
I
can
know
always
is to tell these distributor people how much and too high. That's
Yeah.
all I know.
No, you tell them not to come.
Yeah, I tell you not to come. That's right. Yeah. But no, that's what I do. Like if I want to improve a skill, I'll read the book.
Yep.
But maybe
check it out.
Merit for me to
there
check
is.
out,
There is.
You know, some Atomic Habits.
Yep. And my passion is communication. Yeah. So in the past few years, I've read all kinds of books on properly communicating, taking responsibility for what you communicate, and again, just you talking about, you know, ninja selling. It's one of those things. I believe here I am at 50 years old, and there is so much more for me to learn. I have communicated publicly for over 35 years. My first sermon was when I was 35 years ago. Okay. And I still have so much I continue to learn about communicating. And so it doesn't matter how long you've done something, you still got room to grow.
Yeah, but
that's it.
Aren't you?
I'm going to take you with me.
Okay.
We're going to do some reverse psychology selling.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I got it now.
Good luck.
I know how to fix you.
Yeah. They called that.
Les is what? Oh yeah, I'll buy it.
Political reorientation. It sounds like. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
So,
a cult. Stay away.
So all right. Well, let's. Well, I mean, it is New Year's. We have resolutions.
Yep.
Some people. I don't do resolutions. I do more.
I plan.
Same SOB. Same. Different calendar month. I feel like consistency. Pick something you want to do and just keep doing it. I am not going to join you at the gym at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh heck no!
Let's go. Be there tomorrow, baby.
I'm good, man. So I kind of believe resolutions are meant to be broken, almost. But is anybody else reading anything in the new year that I'm looking at you, Carrie?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I didn't put you on the spot.
Yeah.
I'm just
I mean,
sometimes the new year cues people, whether it's a resolution, just to do something different. Did you pick anything?
I mean, I try each day to be different, so that's just.
Well, you're very unique to me. You know that, baby.
That's enough resolution for me. I just try each day to improve.
Yeah, for me, I discontinued doing resolutions years ago when I started planning.
Planning.
Did you ever stop that gym membership?
No,
it's still going.
No,
but
you know. Let me just be honest. It's still a goal, and it is a part. It is a part of.
You're helping the community.
My strategy for this year.
Okay.
To get there 3 times a week.
And then you know what? That is your resolution. Your resolution to plan better for you.
Yeah.
Like to strategize. That is your resolution.
But it's specific and it's measurable is what he's doing.
Yes,
because if you say I want to lose 5 pounds or I want to lose weight and I want to quit smoking, well, why don't you say I'm going to smoke 1 pack a week instead of 2?
Yeah,
you have to start somewhere.
Smart goals are the best goals.
Yeah.
Yep. So. And the key to it, I'm going to just bestow a life truth. It doesn't matter how or what the goal is. What matters is if you're consistent. Mm-hmm. Consistency is the key. We think we've got to go to the gym every day or we can eat only vegetables. Man, just do something you can be consistent with, and then you'll find success in it.
I think when I was better on the weight loss journey or whatever, my brother being a trainer, I was buying food or I was making food, and he's like, "Why are you doing that?" Because it was maybe like an imitation or a
processed. Yeah.
No, not that. It was like it was like mimicking the bad food. He's like, "Why are you doing that?"
Like the fake hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yeah. He's like, "You're just giving your body the bad. You're not changing habits. You're just giving your body a better alternative to the bad stuff.
Yeah,
you need to stop eating the bad stuff, like buffalo cauliflower or stuff like that. It's supposed to be like when.
Yeah.
Brian, what about you?
Buffalo cauliflower is actually pretty good.
It is pretty good. I will have to say it is
my favorite appetizer.
It is. But any books, anything you're
no books for me. I'm a lot like Pastor. I try to plan. Especially with 2 young boys and so much going on in their lives. I have to sit there and look at camps for Jacob because he's getting ready to enter his senior year. Jackson. It's very stressful. The weekends. You have to put
they're all ate up. Yeah.
So
any new scholarships? I think you're banking on.
He did. Very proud of him. He got ranked a 3-star quarterback from a national club out of the guy's out of Minnesota or somewhere. So he doesn't rank any higher than 3 stars. So 3-star means that he is a Division I quarterback, not maybe one that would go in and start right off. That would be like a 5, which 5 is very few and beyond. But I was very proud of him for that. So, but I'm taking a rejuvenate class tomorrow on real estate.
Okay.
Zam and Rowe, you remember Zam?
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about that. I'm doing it Wednesday, Thursday. It's basically just starting you over.
Well, and that's because how long have you been doing real estate?
I've had my license since 2003.
So, you've had it a long time. I've had mine for
and there's so many changes.
Well, 23 years. And it's like, that's why I'm reading that Ninja Selling book because it's almost telling us stuff we already know.
Yeah, reminding you.
It's recodifying it into a new...
And showing you the new way of doing it.
There's a lot of new ways of doing things. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So,
it's... And the technology end of it that, I'm sure, I don't know if you use... I don't use enough of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, there's an overabundance, and you can basically lose yourself with the technology. You're not... But what it doesn't... and this is what can make you and I successful in real estate... It's not the machines.
Yeah.
It's still a handshake. It's still eye contact with your neighbor. It's still going going to your kids' games and not talking real estate, but just asking basic questions.
Remembering a customer's name.
That's it.
In the food side of it.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, I mean, 80% of my customers order online, but they still want to see me.
Yep.
It's still that relationship that keeps them, that you walk in the door once a week, whenever it is, except Peter's door. But, you know, it is what it is.
Well, you know what? I think that is one of the things that we do have to make more, make more prominent or be more intentional about, is that, like, if we are going to use, computers or AI tools and stuff like that, we use them to make our lives better as we are doing this scheduling, and strategically place them so that we can be more present.
Well, that's the idea, but it's made us less present.
It has made us less present, but that's because we're not being, strategic with our planning, like Pastor Josh was talking about, and I know I had mentioned SMART goals. I said we have to be smart. I just want to make sure that everybody knows, that's being specific.
Yes.
It's making it measurable.
Yep.
That's being making it accountable or achievable.
Yep.
That's why I asked about, does he have a responsibility buddy?
Yep.
He's got his wife.
Oh, yeah.
That makes it, and then you got to be able to make it repeatable.
Yep.
And then, is it timely? Like, is it time specific?
Yeah, And there are things in your life that you will go through. And like, great example, right? So my wife, she's beast, and she had started this eating thing and exercise thing, and I mean was tacking on, losing weight, just bam, bam, bam. And then 2 months ago, everybody got the bug, and I mean, 1 week it was stomach problems. The next week it was, breathing and cold and flu and aching. I mean, and for literally 2 months, it was like she couldn't do anything. And here's one of the keys. So what do? Do you just give up, quit? No. As soon as you can, you get back on the wagon and start the plan again. Maybe you took a few steps backwards. That's okay. Get back consistent with it.
That's right.
Yep. So does anybody want to adopt anybody for a responsibility buddy for the new year? Should we put that out as a poll on Facebook or whatnot? Who wants to adopt?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can keep up with Peter.
Yeah, no. I don't know if he can keep up with you at 4:30 in the
special
morning.
person.
Yeah.
I'll come up with a graphic of like a milk carton. So would anybody adopt me? So.
Missing person.
Okay, so New Year's is a lot of good things, resolutions and the energy. I think everybody's holding their breath for January 20th. Whether you voted for the new president or not, I think it's just what have I told people lately? The stock market and other things are fickle, and they are subjective to just emotion.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think right now a lot of people are holding their breath. We know who the president is, but they're still holding their breath for that January 20th to see somebody take an oath, and then maybe they'll buy a house. Yeah. Maybe they'll buy that car. Maybe they'll get that raise. But everybody's kind of. Do you feel that way right now? Like everybody's kind of.
I don't want to. I'm always like a Debbie Downer. All right.
Okay. Do you remember her on SNL?
Debbie Down me here. We're going to take a short little. I hate it
when we come back. It's okay. We can come back.
Just don't forget the thought.
Here we go. All right. So,
weather, sports, and common sense talk in the morning. Grab another cup of coffee and settle in for more of the Carolina Cabinet, Eastern North Carolina's sexiest conservative talk show. Free thinking, hard hitting, truth telling. You're listening to the Carolina Cabinet, Eastern North Carolina's answer to the radical left, liberal media's blah, blah, blah. Welcome back to local conservative talk radio.
And we're back. Tell
them to get back on it. Come on, let's go.
I swear I was in here earlier trying to get all this working, so it wouldn't take us that long. But okay, so
Carrie, what you got?
Debbie Downer. Come on, girl.
So we just laid to rest the oldest living president, or the oldest president to have lived.
Yes,
to 100, the only one to live to
100.
The only one,
and he just turned 100 like a couple months ago.
And the only one to die of natural causes.
Wow.
As opposed to CIA induced.
As opposed to the government,
like JFK allegedly. Yeah.
Or Abraham Lincoln.
Well, they all died of natural causes. I mean, it's perfectly natural to die. If you
Massive trauma and blood loss will do that to you. Yeah. Well, no, and let's talk about Mr. Carter for a minute.
Yes.
So I went to Emory University, and there's the Carter Center down there, and it's his library, and he was a very well-respected man down there. He was George's son.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But he gets a lot of flack for being just like people look down on him like he's a dumb peanut farmer.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
No, they
just
look
and even when he was president,
this current one really helped him out a lot.
Yeah. Well, so coming out of, I was so young when he was president, but I remember my grandparents who were both conservative and liberals, right, on both sides. But I can remember between inflation, gas prices, gas lines, when he left office, there was a lot of they were glad he was gone. Now, what I will say is this: people may not have been happy about what he did in his presidency, but what he did outside of it.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to say, I think he was one of those that actually used his presidency to gain traction afterwards.
I think he's a shining example of what to do.
Habitat for Humanity would not be what it is today.
Right. I listened to
if it was
the
not
president
for
that
President
speak about that.
Carter.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So that's something.
What he did, I believe in. I say this. I hope not to offend, but I believe what he did after his presidency was so much more powerful.
Well, let's
you
look
have
back
to
at his
think on when he came in. Like
he
came in right after Nixon, right before Reagan.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not like he had a smooth sailing.
Timing.
I mean, there was inflation going on. There were gas lines. You remember, I just saw something the other day about, rationing of the gas, going with odd and even license plate numbers, and you got to be in line. And they were supposed to check. They had filling stations checking people's tanks to see if it's full. If you had half a tank, you couldn't get gas.
Yeah, you can. Yep.
I mean, so it was a really interesting and scary time.
Trying to walk the tightrope between the war on property, the war on drugs.
I'm afraid to say, but I think you could have put our savior in the office and he would have been berated.
Probably. But he was anyway.
Yeah.
They killed him.
Yeah. But now the one thing I do remember is the Iranians taking hostages.
Yes.
And they released them the day Reagan was sworn in.
Yep.
Kind of like an FU to Jimmy Carter because he unsuccessfully sent in a team that we lost a lot of soldiers doing that. It was a special forces thing.
Yep.
So they did make a mockery of him worldwide, but after his presidency, I think is more important.
He's done more. He did more for the country after his presidency. Than
but him and his wife were married for 60?
Yes,
they were also. It is also the longest living president couple.
Yeah,
or to have lived.
I think just
she died last year.
Considering what little knowledge I have, but he, in my opinion, probably did more than any other post-president after he left the office. He did more than anybody else I can think of.
I think it was welcome what he did.
Yes.
A lot of all the presidents, Bill Clinton, Obama, Bush 1, Bush 2, they all had libraries, they all had things, but it was never as visible.
Yep. And Carter did more than just speeches.
It wasn't that he was just seeking the limelight.
Yeah.
He was trying to do good work. He was a Christian man that wanted to live that life, and he had the means to do so.
And, he literally had the hammer in his hand, probably up until he was like 97, 98.
Well,
like still out there.
Is he not the only one, and correct me if I'm wrong, that never came out and spoke for another candidate too? He never campaigned for anybody.
No, he didn't campaign for anyone.
He lived his
life.
So
they beat him up so bad after his president. I wouldn't have.
No, I said, he was the only one that actually showed. But
he didn't come out in any remorse either, and come down on anybody else either. So you got to respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also I think him being in office, I think those that have sat in the president's seat, they're more reserved to not judge the ones coming after them, except recently with Trump and Obama, and because Obama has said several things against President Trump. But I think Carter was just more of a gentleman. So did Bush too. But I think Carter was more of just the old Southern gentleman, and he was part of the greatest generation.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a World War II guy, or right after. So
I don't see him. I don't see where he ever campaigned. I'm googling it. At least on the first page, I don't see where
I've heard so many anecdotes about him where he stayed in touch with. He would come in contact with a young person and that would write him, "Hey, Mr. President," and he would stay in touch with.
Yeah.
And he just did some really cool things that it didn't need to be done.
Did you see they had it? It was just on social media, I think, last week right after he passed. he got on American Airlines and walked down and shook every single person's hand on the plane.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was literally that person.
That guy, yeah.
He did that
He
work
loved people, and he
loved
just,
the people, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to bring it back to the next show, but I believe he was throwing a hammer until he was like 97. Like until he couldn't.
Yeah.
Like until he couldn't.
Until he physically couldn't.
Literally was working. Him and his wife, they were out there working hand in hand.
Mm.
So for the improvement or the betterment of the community, not so much for the accolades or anything that comes along with it. So I mean, and that just goes to show on what we should really be looking at for. When we go to look at elected officials, I know a lot of times we get caught up with the presidency and people only come out for the presidency. However, please go back to your civics class.
Yeah.
Because the legislative branch is the largest, and you are who, like you, the people, we the people, we give the legislative branch the power.
Yep.
So for you to say that my voice doesn't matter, or I don't have a voice, or the government, okay, you put the government in charge to do what the government is doing. If you do not like what the government is doing for you, then change your government official. You have the power to do that.
Yeah, but do we think the days of a Carter running again are over? The man was a decent guy. Listen, we are a conservative radio show.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
we probably wouldn't have voted for him.
Not back then.
Not
I
back
was too young.
I mean, it was there. It would have been, but
I'm a Reagan baby.
It was Reagan and Carter, right? And Reagan whooped him.
Yep, 1980.
So we probably would not have been on the side of Jimmy Carter then. But given the history we have with him,
Oh yeah.
do we, looking at the character, the level of character the man displayed, do we think that those days are gone for a candidate of that caliber?
I think financially wise, it is.
I think for a president, yes.
As a president?
I think as a president, yes. I think that we should hold that as a standard for our local officials. Like, for the city council, the person that's running for county commissioner, the person that's running for school board.
I don't know.
Do they have a heart? Like, do they have the heart? Do they have the ethics?
Character.
Do they have the character?
Yes.
I don't know that our society is bringing forth people like that much anymore. I don't think that he was a product of his generation, his society, those around him.
Agreed.
And I don't know that our society, we would have to really, really look back at some things, and there would have to be some hard changes in order to groom, raise, build up, and place in power.
I mean, you think, though, if Trump didn't have the financial wealth that he had to fight all these battles that came onto him, how could the average person do that?
No.
We'd have been out. But I mean, here's his white flag. I mean, I ain't got no money.
Yep.
And that's what they intend to do, is break you.
Yeah, but I think that's where I say that the president is a far reach. Yeah. Because when you get to a federal official level, or even at the highest levels for state government, you have to have backing of your party. If you do not have backing of a party,
you're not.
Then you're
getting
not
less than
1%. Like you are not going to go anywhere.
Well, just think of this: like at the chamber, the Government Relations Committee, when we have meetings, the senators and congressmen are sending representatives.
They do,
and then they'll introduce themselves and say, "I'm the congressman," or "I'm the senator's regional representative." So they're like a unelected sub-representative because the candidate cannot be
everywhere all the time.
In all places. Yes.
But you need backing. You have to have a support system. But I think, to Carrie's point, we need people of character running locally, because that's where majority of the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely, that's where 85%, 90% of our paycheck taxes get spent.
Yeah, that's where it all happens.
Well, and so we brought up some stuff in previous weeks. So do you think, Peter, because we say that, right? We say we need somebody with integrity. But what we saw locally in the election that happened a few months ago, the amount of money that was spent in order to win a local seat, I can tell you, a poor pastor like me, not gonna happen. I would have to definitely raise a lot of money.
Unfortunately, I think that's where we're at right now, and I think definitely with my particular race, the commissioners, I think we broke it for the next cycle. I think we proved, but again, I go back to why did we need to spend that money? Because media, marketing, communicating to people with all the onslaught of everything in your phone coming at your. I heard somebody tell me the other day that direct mail, the reason it's good is because there's less mail now. So you stick out more.
Which true.
Was that not a bad
no, that's
thing
not bad
to say, and I didn't think about it that way because everybody and their brother wanted me to do direct mail, which would have cost me, I think, $20,000 per drop. To reach the people in the district, but
that goes back to what?
Why can't it be a good person with some money?
Well,
why does it have to be a nefarious, evil jackhole?
Well, this because you can never tell with that. And I don't
know.
know.
Smell a jackhole a mile away. I know what that looks like, bro.
It's almost 2 years now. I attended the Leadership Institute out in California, and one of the things that Morton Blackwell had put out is that in that training, it's not really about the money. Like they do a cost comparison and they show up the campaigns that win because of money, and then there are some that even if they had a little bit of money, they still won. It comes down to the passion that you instill in the people that are going to be campaigning for you. Is what it really comes down to, and then how quickly I guess your message can go viral based off of that and hold some
Carter
teeth.
didn't have to worry about going viral.
No.
He
didn't have to worry about likes.
Likes and clicks and all. So.
But to our to the other point, like when we were talking about going to resign here shortly, if they haven't resigned, leaving her seat vacant, and I forgot what state.
U.S.
it
Congress.
is. I believe it's House. The
Her
House. Yeah.
Okay.
But she's going to leave her seat vacant. And so my thing is like, so what happens when a seat goes vacant? Or what happens, and I mean, this is just a thought, what happens when someone does not want to run? Like you don't have a Republican or Democrat that wants to run for that seat. Do you understand what I'm saying?
They'll find somebody.
I thought the governor appointed it.
Well, so when somebody vacates their seat, they are appointed, I believe, by the governor of the state. For
until the next election.
Until the next election, when they can, or they can have a special election if it's early enough. I think if it's far enough ahead, I think they can do that.
Yeah, but who are we finding? Like, who vets those people?
It's
that
the
we
people
find?
that are
like,
friends. That it's
yeah.
fealty. It's just who did a favor for the party.
You helped me, I'll help you.
Look at when we had that discussion about Trump choosing his cabinet. It was here's a jelly bean for you and a jelly bean. And that's just the nature of politics. I mean, you're going to reward those that helped you.
Yeah, sure.
You're going to
they sacrificed.
You're going to take the ones of the dance that brought you. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Okay.
I didn't say it was a good thing.
No. Okay.
But
all right. I was just.
But okay.
I'm
so
trying to put the penny for the.
How do we appeal to your libertarian heart and make you happy? What would you like done?
I just want to put the penny for the thought. That's it. I just want everyone to think
you're
a
not
little
allowed.
bit more.
You're not allowed to give me the thought without a solution.
I would like everyone to think about, our electoral process a lot easier and really take it to heart as far as like when it comes down to people. We're getting ready to go into a rocky election season.
I like how you said that with a straight face.
Yes, it is going to be a rocky election season.
But so they all are.
Yeah, they're all a little rough. Somebody gets a bloody nose.
The level of propaganda,
Well, this year is just city council.
Yeah.
So it's just 10 seats, 20 people, which, the primary will cut down the clown car.
It will cut down the clown car, which will be great. For the clown car.
Well, I know for sure at the chamber we're not going to have the candidate forum until like October. I think the primary is October.
I think you're right.
And then right after the primary, then I think 2 weeks after that we have our forum. To ask the people the questions, and then
right after that's the election. Is there anybody else? Because I'm trying to think. You have the commission, at least this time.
But for Coffee Club, they're all. Coffee Club went everywhere. There was a letter that went from Soil and Water all the way up to the president.
Okay.
If the president comes, that would be nice, but it's right before inauguration, so I'm pretty sure
he's going to be tied up.
They won't let him. He's going to be a little bit tied up.
So I might be able to get the current one there.
So
I don't think
it wasn't an active exclusion. It's just that they just never thought to invite.
Sure.
And the GRC is one of 3
organizations, local
underneath the chamber that and we're supposed to be the interface to the political arm. But how can there's two things. There's incentives for the candidates to come for two reasons. Number one, they need to know who the business leaders of this community
absolutely
are. And the business leaders need to know what they look like and who they are, so that when they need help, they know who to go to.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But furthermore, I told the candidates and the electeds, you need to know us, because wouldn't you like to have an advocate on your behalf in your next election cycle?
Yep.
I mean, let us know that you're business friendly, or you're business friendly because you know it helps the community.
Yeah, and that's another area that's so needed. Frankly, I'm a little surprised that it's like, why did it take us so long to do this?
To bring them in.
Yeah, to bring them in.
I think it takes just growing pains.
I
comes
agree.
With a different, vantage site. Like I was talking to someone, which I didn't even know about, Miller Mott University or whatever. I guess it's like a trade. It's a trade school, right? And in a conversation with one of them, I was like, well, I mean, everybody's talking about this early college. What about early trade?
Yeah.
Like what, I mean, it's the same qualifications. You still need to have almost getting out of your degree. But what if instead of, that junior that wants to train, they can go and they can start their CDL training their senior year, do their
their carpentry, whatever.
Or carpentry or HVAC, whichever. And then by the time they finish high school, either they're halfway done with their cert or they're able to be certified at the same, after graduation.
See, the problem now with that is, like my son is doing the FTCC thing, and none of the trade classes, he can't get in any of them for that because they're full, and night is all they have open, and he's an athlete.
And so that gives them time
So it's cutting them out.
Yes.
But the trade should be in our schools.
Yes.
They are built for them.
They
have automotive and woodworking and all that stuff. So they should be learning there.
They should be learning.
They should be getting out of school at 12 o'clock.
They should be learning there.
I mean that's ridiculous. I don't care how you twist it. They should not be going to Fayetteville Tech to take classes.
To go to your point, back where I grew up at, I know y'all
Here
love
we
me.
go.
Y'all love me talking about good old state of Virginia.
Where I come from.
Yes.
Go ahead, girl.
So back in Virginia, I mean, after years, now they can, like, I know that the high schools, they can walk out with those certifications. Like, they can become CCNA certified. They're CCNA certified. And I'm saying at graduation.
Yeah.
Net
Plus certified at graduation. That means that the next month they could get that six-figure job that they're paying in the country.
What they're doing in high schools right now it blows your mind. I mean, they're not teaching them hardly anything.
Yeah.
I mean, their subjects are just ridiculous. And half of them, like I said, when you get to a junior, they're gone. You don't even know they're even taking the classes at Fayetteville Tech.
Yeah.
They're online. Really?
Yeah.
I know. I cherish the days that I made a keychain in tech ed and made a small bridge out of popsicle sticks.
Excellent.
I do want to say
your
one
highest
thing.
and best on carpentry?
Yeah.
That is it.
That was the
yes,
extent.
that's about all I.
All right.
Me and Christopher Davis. Do you know Christopher Davis?
Chris Davis.
He used to be a city councilman.
Yeah, I know Chris.
Me and him are working on a project now. We're going to go speak in front of the school board. We want to do each season host a game during the school hours, like a basketball game, a baseball game, like one that doesn't have big attendance, so that the whole school can watch the ones that can't get back after they kind of help build the relationship of the athletes and the school again.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Right now, it's policy that you can't have anything before school releases, but we're going to just one game each season. A football game, a basketball game, baseball game, soccer, especially the sports that don't have hardly any attendance.
Okay.
To fill it up one time for those kids, I think it would be awesome.
Or maybe not a full game, but maybe like a scrimmage.
Well, you got schools like Smith and Westover and certain sports that don't, they don't have crowds. I mean, half the parents don't even come.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to bring them and have all the student body and have a big game for those two games.
I agree.
To create atmosphere. Right now, instead of the kids being like, I don't want to play that game, nobody shows up.
Yeah. Nobody shows up to tennis. What do you mean?
Yeah, tennis. I mean, we got state championship tennis.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
I agree.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Quarterly games.
Yeah.
And force the kids to go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's class time.
It's a pep rally.
Mandatory
with a real
fun.
game.
Well, and I'm not saying anything bad or anything, but they could do 2.5 hour. What do you want to call them?
Well, could you do that around like a school's homecoming? When they play, don't they play a game at homecoming?
Well, you won't want to do the homecoming game because that's you want
that's well-attended game.
You want to find that game that doesn't have a lot of attendance.
Okay.
And play that with your day that way and bring the student bodies.
Well, I mean, would it be good to do like where the students they don't have to pay to get into that game?
Well, they wouldn't.
Yeah, no, that'd be free because it'd be during school hours.
They have to pay now, don't they?
Yeah, they got to pay $8.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe if you alternate it where like this game is a free game to even during
I hate to
season.
say it, but you give them a sample for free, they might come back.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
Or they might want to play.
They might encourage them to want to
play.
They might want to play. Yeah.
I know the owner of Baldino's. Man, he brought me a sub one time and had me.
We're looking for that sponsor.
We
got to get back to that. Yeah. So it's only 2 stores now.
Oh man, we haven't had any subs lately.
Yeah.
Well,
I know y'all talked to me. That's the whole reason I come. I ain't had one yet.
Guys, it was everything I do to be here.
Oh yeah, yes. Well,
that Bishop
on time.
Well, I told you guys in the text, no Greek time. I'm really leaving this time. So, all right. So we have about 5-6 minutes left. What else has been going on? We can
touch on very quickly the resignation of the Canadian Prime Minister.
Okay.
You mean what is
Thibodeau,
Fidel Castro's son, love child?
Yeah. He has made the announcement that as soon as the Liberal Party of Canada has found a replacement, that he would be.
He's out.
Yeah, exiting his seat.
But it's weird. I wonder if that has anything to do with the upcoming possible conflict with our new president.
Yes, it has everything.
Is anybody else kind of surprised that all this stuff's kind of starting to happen around the world?
Dominoes are starting.
Trump hasn't even taken office yet. And everybody's like, I'm out.
Yep.
Peace.
He's coming.
Yeah.
Yep, he's on his way.
For better or worse. Yeah. It's like.
Well, he's filled that position, I believe, for like over 10 years.
Yeah.
He's been there for a minute as prime minister. So
think of the things that he's done that we've seen in the United States. Why should I know what's going on in Canada?
Yeah.
But the trucker strike,
yes,
and confiscating weapons and all this socialist nonsense.
Yep.
I think he's got enough conservatives over there that are ready to pull him out of there.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Maybe that's writing on the wall for worldwide.
Yeah.
That it's okay. Okay. People accuse me of being not MAGA and this, that, and the other. But there's no embarrassment to make your country first.
Yeah.
But somehow we've had that weaponized as a racial thing to say, to put us first. Let's put the oxygen mask
MAGA
on
isn't
first.
Putting America first.
Well, okay, but that's generally what MAGA says openly.
That's what it says openly, but I believe that if you are an American or you are a patriot, I do not believe that
just say it. Come on, just say MAGA again. Come on.
I do not believe that you can also state MAGA out of your mouth. That's me personally.
See, I just wanted you to hear say
I 100% disagree with you that.
But let me say that these things do not have to be mutually exclusive.
Right.
You don't have to say, I know plenty of
just because you're not a MAGA doesn't mean you don't want the country to be better.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but the country can be better.
Oh, always. That's a never.
And I think we've always been improving.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
But the same greatness is the same.
Well,
greatness.
that's what makes us Americans. We always strive to be better or bigger or improve on what we're doing.
Yeah.
We've never been complacent. That's why we went to the moon. That's why we went. I mean, among other geopolitical, social things going on, but we wanted to just because we can.
Yeah.
Just because we know.
No, we had to be there first.
Mm-hmm.
That was the push.
Ricky Bobby said, "If you're not first, you're last."
Yeah,
we had to be there first.
I think it's like everything.
We had to be the first.
I think it's like everything in life, though. You have to hit bottom sometimes to figure it out, to get out, to get back to the top.
I can't say we've ever hit bottom.
I think to appreciate going back to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
have been pretty low lately.
I think our systems. I'm glad that the systems have worked the way that they worked to raise the eyes that they needed to raise. Because these are the same systems that have been there since 1776.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I trust the system. I know it will work eventually.
Like
that's the problem. People, somebody goes to court. They're convicted. They go before a judge for a crime. They're tried by jury or their peers. They're given due process, and then people don't like the outcome. So take President Trump. People are pissed that he got convicted of whatever it was he got convicted of. But that's why are you upset? That's due process. Yeah. Just because you don't like the outcome doesn't mean the system is broken. Well, and that's what we have to get away from, trying to change the system. Like we have these idiots like AOC trying to add another or put term limits on the Supreme Court justices.
All right, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Ready?
Okay, go ahead.
So what about 4 years ago?
4 years ago.
When Trump didn't get elected, and what did he do?
It was wrong.
Yeah, he's like calling Mike Pence, hey, you can't do this.
You have to
calling
respect
Georgia.
the system.
That's just it.
Well, that's the thing, is that there are people that did not respect the system.
Yeah.
And that's where that okay, so there is my my grief. Thank you for speaking my grievance, Pastor Josh. Because of the simple fact that how can you say you love America in one breath and then you want to disrespect the constitutional process in the next breath? Like we spoke about on how you cannot agree with something.
Yep.
But that does not mean that you disrespect it to the point that you are going to call for someone's head on a platter. Like you
mean
those
like
are
Kathy
some
Griffin when she had the bloody head of Trump and she didn't get in trouble for that?
Hey, well,
I mean,
that's something that you should have pressed because it is. I understand that there is freedom of speech.
There's a bias to the liberal left to get away with that kind of crap.
Well, here's the thing: is that the only way that you get away with it is because you do not protest it, because that is your right. Also,
well, because
as
most
of
us conservatives got a job to get to. We don't have time.
Well,
we've had that discussion before.
Yeah,
you know.
But I think even protests. So let me say this: even protests can go and get wildly out of hand.
Can get out of hand.
You know,
and they have
George Floyd. You know, trying to people catching themselves on fire at the market house.
Protests.
You know,
not a thing.
And then
no one said that was a peaceful protest.
No. I mean, but I think that shows there's guilt.
There's guilt.
On both
there's
sides.
bias on both sides. Okay,
and they got to be willing to have the conversation.
I'm just saying that like the FBI and the CIA and all those other 3-letter government agencies have worked the way that they've worked since they have, like, the way that it's been working is how it was even conceived. So for today to point a finger at, oh, well, it's doing this and it shouldn't be doing this. Okay, but we allowed it to do this.
Yeah.
Well, it got away from us like a wildfire. I don't think, because nobody elected the government officials that when Donald Trump says the swamp, he's talking about the career, non-elected functionaries of our government. Nobody should be in these
big
jobs.
Pharma, all the...
And they've created administrative rules that have now come down on us. And that's what he talks about with draining the swamp. He's not talking about the politicians per se, which they need to go too. But he's talking about that entrenched shadow government. Like you said, we get what we allow.
But that shadow government will always be there. It's part of the heartbread of America.
Doesn't mean I have to like it.
No,
you don't have to like it. But it's going to be there.
And if I want to storm my Capitol, then I'm going to storm my Capitol. But, guys, our 60 Minutes is up. I want to say thank you to our on-air cabinet members, Bryan Moore, and thanks for being here.
Awesome.
Pastor Josh,
yes,
thank you. And to Miss Carrie J.
Hey.
Always keeping the party live.
Happy New Year to
Happy
everybody.
New Year.
So thanks to everybody for being with us today. To our listeners, I hope you do us a favor and take time this week to visit one of our commercial sponsors and let them know you heard their message on the Carolina Cabinet. If you do somehow miss an episode of our top-rated show,
Top-rated,
you can find us on your favorite